Then after that, they process it. They give you a slip. Okay, then you can attend the class, the exam, and you make an exam, and so on, right? So they can be a system and a hybrid, meaning that some information that they gathered manually and some information is online, right? So the system here is not the digital system itself. Yeah, the digital system is part of it, or under the system itself, but the system is the whole thing, right? The thing that process your input and then after that give you the output, right? It doesn't matter it is digital or online. Okay, so need to process of the quality system needed to ensure that an organization, product or services meet or exceed the customer needs and expectation. So this is something like quality system. So the one that you have to know that it is quality system, and the thing is the target is to exceed or to meet, right? Exceed or meet the customer needs and also what is the customer expectation. So this is the main goal of the quality system or the ISO 9000. Okay, ISO 9000 deal with fundamentals of quality management system or QMS. So if we mention that QMS is quality management system, it is not the queue management system, the one that if you go to to banks, right? So you see the QMS. That one is not the quality management system. It's the queue management system. The one that we are talking about here is the quality management system. Okay, the ISO 9000 is based on documentation, right? And it is based on the following, right? The the thing that you need to do here is document what you do, right? Do what your document and prove it and improve it. So this is the three things that is really really basic or fundamental. So you document what you do, right? Then after that you do what you have document and then prove it and improve it. Meaning it is not something that ISO mentioned to you that okay you have to have this documentation, you have to have this documentation in detail to specific problem, right? And then something like okay, I'm now have a logistic uh, company, right? So I have a logistic company. Okay, this is the logistic company. This is the regulation, or this is the rule that you have to follow. Meaning that you have to have a big warehouse. Your warehouse should be something like this. The arrangement of your warehouse should be something like this. No, that one is not a standard of ISO. It is more on the documentation, something like your flow of your system or your flow of your process, your flow of your the procedure inside your organization on how, for example, when you have a logistic, right? You want to store all the item or material in your warehouse, then there is a procedure when you get the raw material, the one who just entered the warehouse, you have to record all the ID, what is the model number of the item, and how the quantity of the item before you go into the warehouse. And then when they enter the warehouse, you have to put it in one section. This is the section for milk. This is a section for paper roll. This is a section for the toilet tissue and so on. So this is something that the process have to be documented, the procedure have to be documented, and then it is not really specific to that company or to that business, but it is more towards the documentation, the procedure that you have done in your own in your own organization. So document what you do, the flow you have to document it, and then you apply, meaning that you do what you document. Sometimes some people is something like they have a process, and then when they document the process, they add here and there. They say that okay, this is a good one. If we add this is a good one. We've added, but when they do it, they didn't follow the one they document. They follow the one that they have done before without the documentation. So this is something like the ISO need you to document it, and then do what you document and prove it that you have followed that document, and then you improve it. It is not something like static. It is something like if you do this one, and then at this probably 1 or 2 months or 6 months or 1 year, you have something like a review, and then you want to improve the process, right? So the process is not static. It is continual of improvement, continuity of improvement. Okay, so approach on how to get the ISO, or to go for ISO 9000. It so ISO 9000, they provide a starting place, right, for all encompassing quality effort, right? So they give a starting place. So on the ISO 9000 is one of the one that you have to go first, right? Something like for organization. So this is something like the basic one, the starting place. So the standard merit stipulate where organization need documentation to validate processes and approaches, but never dictate how much they require, right? So it is based on the organization itself. So they say that this is our documentation, and sorry, the process and our approach, and this is the documentation. ISO 9000 doesn't have any regulation of, okay, documentation should have 50, the documentation should have 5. So every process has 5. Every process you need to you need to have 9 documentation. No, they didn't give you any of the requirement that needed. Sorry, the documentation that needed, but the documentation should be enough for your process that in the organization. Okay, so ISO is not product registration. So it is not about the product. It's not about the product of the organization, right? So in no way measure or recognize quality of a company product, as I mentioned to you before, and also doesn't mean that two companies with the ISO registration are equivalent, right? So a big company, they say that we are ISO 9000, and then another company, small company, saying that we are also 9000, ISO 9000 compliant or certified, or sorry, 9001 certified. So it is not something like me and also me as a small company and another one with the big company, we are equivalent. No, it doesn't mean that, right? So it is just a certification of the process. It is not something that to level or the what do you call that, to make a comparison between two companies, right? So if it is something like the company have certified of ISO 9000, both companies are equal. No, this is not the thing, right? Okay. So approach to ISO 9000. So the thing to get the ISO 9000, it is not something that you can just, as we already know before, the quality is not just plug and play, right? Something that, okay, I want an ISO 9000, I pay this much of money, and then I can get it. No, it is not some the standardization or the standard is not something like that, right? It's not just a product that you send and then you make an evaluation and then you get the result and then you get certified. No, this is not, right? So ISO 9000 require a lot of commitment. So management need to be something like, so ISO requires the management or the manager or the group of management of this organization need to be committed, right? They have to commit, right? If they decide that we want to go for ISO certification, they have to commit it, right? They have to give the support, right? Give their in terms of resources, let's say in terms of costs or financial, in terms of resources, all the stuff that need to involve in this ISO certification activity or process. Involvement, they have to also involve, right? Give some information on the management part, focus, right? To be more focused, right? And then also responsive, right? It's not something that okay, this is our maybe fourth or fifth priority and we don't want to respond. until we have much free time, right? You need to focus and also responsive, right? You need to focus and also responsive for the management. So for the people in the organization or in the agency or in the department, so they have to be organized, right? Responsible, authorized. Give them authorized. They give them something that they have empowerment to power to do something, right? And then competent. They have to be a competent one. They have to be skilled. They have to be knowledgeable, empowered, and also knowledge. Is also the one that I've mentioned to you before. So in terms of the process itself in the organization, so we are talking organization now. It's not talking about the software quality itself. So this is a bit more high level for you. This is about the whole organization process, the standard of the organization itself, right? So the processes inside the organization, it should be visible, right? Visible. It should be something like you can see it, and then it can be traceable. You can trace it, right? Who do what, right? And then from here to here, who is the person responsible? And then from A to let's say you have A, B, C, and D, the process you can track from this is coming from C, this is coming from D, sorry B, and this is coming from A, and who are the first one to initiate the process. So you can trace the whole process, right? The whole until the product come out, and then you can just trace the source, right? Let's say this card, this is the smart card, right? And then you can trace until who are providing or who are supplying the chip of the card, right? Then it should be consistent, repeatable. You can repeat it. It consistent. It can repeat. The process can be repeatable, right? It is not something that you have done once. Then the next task you cannot repeat the process anymore. You have to create a new process for that, right? So the process should be consistent. The process should be repeatable and measurable, right? Measurable. Okay, you can measure that from process A to process B. It takes 5 minutes, right? It takes 5 minutes. It can be measurable, and then from A to B, right? The material that you can use per minute is around 5, something like that. So it should be measurable and documentable. You can document it, right? It is not something that you cannot put it in writing, right? So process should be something like this in order to have the ISO, because ISO requires this, right? And the last one is the document. The documents must be appropriate, right? Relevant, right? You don't put any of thing that is not related to 9000 ISO 9000. It should be simple, because this documentation will be read, or people will read it, right? It must be simple and yeah, don't take a lot of time to people to read it, and understandable, right? Okay, it should be understandable, right? You don't put any of jumble of what do you call that, language, right? So first part you put in French, second part you put in English, the third part you put in Dutch or something. This should be understandable, right? And then the structure should be nice, right? It is in a good flow. You don't put the introduction in the middle of the documentation, and then the method is the first in the first chapter, and then after that for test uh, the result you put it in after the introduction and so on. So it is not in a good structure, so it is not easy to understand the document. So you have to have something like structure, and in order to make the documentation to be readable. Okay, ISO standard basically have 3 requirements, right? For the first one, so document the quality system, sorry, and business process in detail, right? Because previously a lot of people they say that, okay, uh, we this is the product, yeah, our process is a good quality process, but they don't have documentation on that. Right? The problem is, if they don't document it, if someone have yeah if the turnover of the company is high, meaning that a lot of people resign, then you don't have any reference on how to do the process, right? So the process here for the business process on how you do the business, right? On how to do the business, you need to put it in detail. Yeah, you put it in detail and you should document it, right? The second one, the company must make sure each employee understands, right, and follow the guideline put forth by the documentation. It is unusable. It's useless if you have documentation, but people do not follow it, right? It is something like the documentation should be there in detail, and then you have to make sure that all employee understand the documentation, the document, and also follow, understand, right, and follow. It is not only okay. I understand the ISO saying this, and this, but for me, I will use this flow, or I will use my way on how to solve the problem. No, it is not something like that. It should be something that people know the documentation, or understand the documentation, and they follow, right? And the third one, documentation. Documented quality system must be constantly monitored, right? Through internal, external audit, and change or update when necessary. So the first one, you should have a documentation. Second one, you have employee to understand the document and also follow the document. And third one, you have something like so-called monitor, right? You have to have someone to come and then to see, okay, Hafiz, do you follow this one? And yeah, do you follow this? Can you prove me that your work is according to this standard, or according to the documentation? So I have to present it to them, right? Okay, yes, this is my documentation. This is the way I inspect the material, and then when the material came, and then just come in, and then the one that I need to do is record the video or something like that, right? So this is something that I have to prove to the external audit, or internal audit, right? So what is internal auditor and also external audit from your yeah, from your from your opinion? What is that one? What is internal and external auditors? Simple, right?
I I think the internal audit is about interviewing our workers.
Oh no, sorry, Haziq. That one is not the correct answer. So any other answer? Anyone else? Or Haziq, you if you want to uh, again to try, what is internal and external audits?
Internal, like check the amount or the quantity of something.
Mm-hmm.
External, sure.
Okay, it actually, internal and external audit is something like physical thing, right? Meaning that internal audit, you get someone in the organization, right? Someone in an organization that can be an internal auditor, meaning that we hire. It's not hire. We pick. We select someone that is really not much what call that much involved in the process, and then be our auditors, and then they come, the internal auditor come, and then go to the employee, and then ask whether employee is something like follow the standard or not, because we select someone in the organization. That one is internal audits. The external audits is something that we hire someone from the certification body, or the company that have privilege in doing the audit, the ISO auditing, right? So internal audit is we select people to be auditors, the one who do inspection, right? The auditors for the company, inside the company. So people in the organization audits the organization itself. But the external audit, we hire someone from other company, or who or company or people who are really expert in ISO, come and then do the audits. right? So this is the difference between the internal and external audit, right? Okay, and furthermore is the document should be you can change, right? It is not something that you cannot change it, right? So ISO or the documentation or the standard, you can change it, and then you need to change it, because if you don't change it, then your organization will be static, right? Organizations should be something like dynamic, right? So it should be updated uh, according to the needs and according to the time, right? Next, the ISO 9000. Any organization wishing to adopt ISO standards should start with ISO 9000 first, right? So they have something like definition, the taxonomy, in ISO 9000, and then after that, I think you already know that ISO 9000, you have ISO 9001, the one I mentioned to you before, ISO 9004. Then after you know the ISO 9000, then you can select another appropriate standards that according to your type of business. Okay. So first of all, it's recommended to be ISO 9000 first, right? So you have to understand what is the ISO 9000. Then after that, you can go for ISO 9001, right? So the ISO 9000 standard is continually being revised by standing technical committees and advisory groups who receive feedback from those professionals who are implementing the standard. So now the latest version of ISO 9000 is ISO 9000 2015. Right. So if you see something like this, right, ISO 2015, normally this is normally not all the time. It's normally that the end here is the version of normally they take the year, right? So ISO 9000 version 2015, right? So this standard, it is not something like also not static. The standard itself is not static, right? When they apply it, the one that applied by the practitioner, then after that they will uh, the practitioner, and then they will give you the feedback on how to change it or how to improve the process. Okay. So other ISO standard, the one I mentioned to you before, right? This is the basic one, and then you have to select the appropriate standard. So this is the example of other standard under the flag or under the umbrella of ISO 9000. So 9001, right? Rhodes standard provide for design, right? Design, development, production, installation, and servicing. It is not only for software development organization or company. It is for throughout all the business. You can just take this one, right? So all business can use this documentation or use this standard, the ISO 9001. So the ISO 9002 is more focused on production, installation, and also servicing. For 9003, you can have further more limited to the inspection, also the testing, right? So inspection and also testing, it is not really specific for software. Right? So software. So it is also some other material, some other organization or some other businesses, right? So 9003 or ISO IEEE or IC is 90,003 2018 is uh, further limited to the software quality or computer system. So a company, as I mentioned to you before, should first use ISO 9000 to design and implement the quality system. Once the quality has been installed, the one that they understand all the things, and then after that they can choose or they can go further to 9001, 9002, 9003 to just demonstrate the adequacy of the quality system. Okay, guys, so I think that you can understand the ISO right now. This is the ISO 9000. It is something like the software quality management. They have something like process. The thing is, you can see here is the documentation is one of the critical thing in the in the standard. right? So on how to get to register the ISO 9000, right? So this is the family of ISO 9000. How to register this? So this is something like the step that you have to fulfill in order to register ISO 9000. So you have first you have a planning, right? Normally planning, right? Planning, the one that you already probably do the probably learn before. Plan, right? A plan normally have to have what? What?
Uh, the
Yes,
object,
Aziz. Yeah, objective. Yeah, what is the objective of your what call that? The objective of your task or activity, right? Other than that,
uh,
Requirement.
requirement. Good. Shazwan, requirement. The one that what do you require, right? For this task. Yes, and other thing, Haziq, in planning. It is not planning only for the software quality, software, right? This is the planning for if you want to do a project, right? What is the thing that you need to in your plan?
Budget.
Budget, yes, the cost, financial. Yes, Anis?
Approach, technique.
Approach,
Yeah.
yes. You need to have a technique or you have the methodology that you follow, right? In order to fulfill all in order to finish the project. Yes, other than that. So we have visited the requirement, objective, and also the cost, and also the methodology,
Timeline.
timeline. Yes, the time, right? Other than that, the last one. So anyone for you? The cost, the time, objective, methods or approach.
Team management.
Sorry,
Team management.
management. Sorry,
Team.
again. I mean, in management,
Team.
team management. Yes, that's the thing that I'm looking at. Right, team management, or the or in more abstract way, is the human resource. Right, team management and also the human resource. So is this is the planning that you have, right? In order to complete this, you have this is the resource that you have, right? This is the cost that the budget that you allocate, right? This is the timeline. Probably you have, okay, we need to have this ISO 9000 because next year, for example, this is a company, a software company. Next year, I predict that I believe from my information there will be a tender from Petronas or a tender from the government that they need this kind of system. But in order to apply for the tender, we need to have ISO 9000. So you have a timeline. Okay, before applying the tender next year, so at the end of this year, we have to have ISO 9001 or ISO 9000. So this is the timeline, right? And then after that, you suit the timeline with other company uh, experience, because you need to ask some other company experience who already have ISO 9000. Ask them how much time they will use, how much cost that they have already invested in order to get that one, and then how much resources, right? It's not only money and also the time. It is resources. How many people that I have to put in order to make this one happen, right? So this is the planning. Then after you have plan, then you have to do the train, right? So you have to send people to train, right? Because in order to understand the requirement of the ISO, sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes a lot of people don't know that this is the thing. This task, you need to have a really competent people, meaning that the people have really knowledge and also know how to do that. So you have to send people to go for training for the ISO, to how to audit an ISO, and training to how to do the documentation of ISO, because ISO, the main thing is the documentation, right? So this is something that you have to know, that it is not only just do a plan and then after that, okay, go for it, make a documentation. You have to train first. You have to train people. You have to train people on how to do the documentation. It is not only people who are managerial part, meaning that the manager need to do the documentation. It is also the people at the bottom line, the one who are doing, let's say, do the process of receiving the material from for the warehouse, right? The one, okay, this is the operation part. So the manager of the operation or assistant manager of the operation part in this section need to have something like the detail of the process, and then they know how to do the documentation for that, right? So this is the training. So after you know that the skill and also the knowledge of the ISO is there, then you can go for another step by prepare the documentation. So now a lot of people know, okay, this is the template on how to do the documentation. This is all the documentation. This is the plan and so on. Then now execute it. Execute meaning that you document all the process in your section or in your department, right? So if you have something like that, then you make one documentation for whole department. Then after that, you make an internal assessment, right? Probably you can have something like, okay, for this department, we are already finished all the documentation, and then we need to select, or we need to appoint an internal assessor. So we have to ask someone from the other department that know ISO and then come to our place. Okay, can you inspect our documentation, right? So he or she will come and then do the inspection. Do you do this one? Do you do this one? Do you do this one? No, I not do this one because the manager put this is the another process. So this is not something like comply, right? You are not documenting what you do. You are documenting what you do, and then you add more, right? You can add more, yes, but provided that your staff can do that, right? So because remember that you document what you do, and then you do what you document, right? So this is not comply with you do what you document. You just document what you do, but you add it. Yeah, you add you add some more process. Then this is normal for people, right? They say that, okay, this is the process. Oh, we can add something, right? We can add something because this is can be better if we add something. But you are not document what you do. You are document what you do, but you add something, right? So this is something that you need to know. Okay, so you hire the internal internal assessor. It's not hire, you appoint, because should be in the internal organization, right? But the one that not related to your department. And then after that, you have the internal audits, right? So internal audit is more formal, right? Internal assessment, Tech. Internal assessment is you yourself do the assessment, right? You appoint someone in your department to be leader, right? To be leader on assess. Okay, this is the one that we have documented, right? Document. So sorry, it is the one that I mentioned to you before is internal auditing, right? But this is the internal assessment is you yourself assess the documentation that you have done, right? So is it we do this one? Yes. Is it we do this one? Yes. Is it we do this one? No. And why we want to document that, right? So if we say that no, we are not doing this, but this can further improve our quality. Okay, can you do that? Yes. Okay, now we do that, we add it, and we do it, and we put it in the documentation, right? And then after that, internal audit. Internal audit, the one that I mentioned to you before, we have to hire someone, or we have to appoint someone in the organization, be an internal auditors. He come, and then he or she come, normally she, come and then do the audit of that department documentation. All the things. Also interview, also see the proof on how they do it, right? On how they do it according to the documentation. After you are really happy with that, and you are really confident that, okay, this is the documentation is according to the one that ISO 9000 needs or ISO 9001 needs, then you can go for pre-registration assessment, right? So pre-registration assessment, and then you will have something like a lot of things that they have something like kit, okay, all right, or your checklist, you have done this, okay, you have done this, and then assess all the thing, and then after that you can go for registration assessment. So registration assessment is more formal. This is the registration that mentioned that okay, I'm fully ready to be assessed by the certification body or certification company, right? So we are ready. We fill out the form, pay for some amount of money for doing the assessment, and then waiting for the assessor, the external audit come, right? And then the external audit come, and then they will do the assessment. After they did the assessment, then they give you certification, right? And normally certification have something like a validity period. Then some ISO, they have some validity period, meaning that you only get this certification for around 2 years or 3 years. Then after that you have to renew, or you have to refer for the new what do you call that new certification version, right? So let's say you have 2011, then after that you need to ISO 9000 2008, then they come up with a new one, ISO 9000 2015, then you have to comply with the new one, right? 2015. Okay, guys, right? Then this is the one that I've mentioned to you before, right? But just to highlight that there should be a management commitment, set the direction goal, allocate resource plan, implement, maintain, and so on. So you have to perform a gap analysis, right? This is the same with this one, right? But gap analysis, you know what is gap analysis? It is something that we have to see what we have now in the organization. Then after that, we need to see what is the requirement from the ISO 9001. Then after that, we have to see, okay, we don't have this, we have this. We don't have this, we don't have this. And then we see what is the gap between the certification and non-certification status, right? And then we see that, okay, we have this documentation, we have this documentation. The thing is, we have to change a bit to suit with the ISO requirement, ISO requirement, right? So conduct training, the one that I mentioned to you, yeah, training, and then document the system, yeah. So now you preparing the documentation, implement, maintain, monitor, and measure the system, right? Then then you do something like internal audit, right? And then management review, review all the decision, is it okay or not, and the way forward on for continual improvement. And last but not the last and the most important part, when you are ready, contact the certification body to proceed with the certification, right? You have a lot of steps here, right, to comply with the standard. Okay, so 3 steps, as I mentioned to you before: management, right, involvement, organization, team spirit, the one that I mentioned before. Yeah, it's a team work. It is not an individual work, right? You cannot hire one person to make sure that, okay, you are your responsibility. I hired you, and then your responsibility is to make sure the company have certified. Sorry, the company certified ISO by the end of the year. It is not only one person, right? It is not only one man show. It is a team spirit, right? It is the team of the whole department, the team of all the organization. It is not only the manager, and it is not only the operator. It is including a lot of people, right? Including the one who clean up the building, right? All the things, right? Including the one who in charge in security of the building, safety of the building, is all, right? It's all of the organization. As long as you have a process for that, you have to document it, right? The preparation process, understanding the requirement, developing good assessment, compliance, current compliance of gap analysis, establishing the internal audits and document the process. And then audit preparation. So you have to undergo a simulation. It is, yeah, you need to do some simulation before the external audit come. All right, it is, you have to make a rehearsal. This is my experience in one organization. We don't have any. We have actually we have some procedure in the organization, but even we have some procedure for that. If we want to go for ISO, it's really tough job, right? It's really tough job. It's really take a lot of time. A lot of things have to be documented, and we have to follow the document. That one is okay if you have already document, but if you don't do any documentation on your process, this is a really challenging part, right? So, and then you have to make a rehearsal when they come, and then you have to make sure all the all the things in a good setup, right? And then everyone understand the policy and showing the process professional attitude. It is not only something like you say that okay, this is quality, this is documentation for this department, and this is the guy who are doing all the things, meaning that to make sure the process is okay and so on, right? It is not only one person, it's the whole department need to understand, right? It need understand what is the ISO and what is the documentation, and they read all the things, they know what is the thing, right? And then show the professional attitude, right? Saying that okay, now you say that in the documentation you can find the file in the cabinet file in less than 2 minutes. Can you show me? Okay, this is the documentation that I want. And then they say that okay, 2 minutes, then go. Okay, this is your 2 minutes. This is the document. So I give you in 2 minutes. So in a professional way, in a professional attitude, that you are fulfilling the one that they need from the external auditors, right? Fostering a good relationship, right? Working relationship with the external auditors, right? Auditors also a human, right? You cannot say that they are not a human. You cannot say that they are just following. You have to have something like a good relationship with them. Right? Give the story of the history of the company. This is the company make profit, and then with the standardization it's more better, and then we can show that the company is a really professional company with this certification. Something like you can just make sure that you are really go into the ISO certification, right? So this is registration roadmap, right? So you know what you are doing, involvement management, understand the concept, and also buy in their commitment, right? So this is the most crucial part, because some people, some management, they don't know the value of certification, right? They say that, oh, yeah, this is something waste of money and also time, right? But some people who are really know what is the business value of the certification, they are trying to convince these managers, right? So establish quality steering committee, and with empowerment, right? With empowerment meaning that they have something like authorization and do some decision and to drive people, right? So train the management and employee. It's not only employee, it's also the management part to be trained as a ISO, what do you call that? ISO information, right? So communicate registration plan, develop and implement the plan, self-assessment with question, right? So you have something like this, you have to self-assessment, right? You ask yourself, you have okay, what if this one? What if we ask with this one? What if is this is the thing that you have to do, right? So establish a quality manual and procedures, right? So you have a quality manual itself in the organization, internal audit system, right? It is something like every year you have a point. Okay, this is, every department need to give something like, okay, this is our auditor, this is our auditor, this is our auditor, but our auditor will audit another department, right? So there will be something like a champion of the department to be an auditor, but not for the department, but to audit another department. So you have something like internal auditing system. This is the group of people of internal audits, right? Internal auditors. Then you have to measure compliance to the procedure. So you have a checklist. Okay, you say that this is the sorry, the procedure and so the process. And then when the guy come, when the internal audit come, they say that okay, yes, it comply. Yes, it comply. No, it is not comply. You are not doing things according to the standard that you have developed. Then something that you have to change in order to make sure that you're still compliant with the standards, right? And if you need to renew the standard, then the external audit also will do something like that, right? If you're not complying, then you are not certified anymore, right? Okay. So call independent assessor to audit, the one that I have mentioned to you before, the external audits. Okay, guys, any questions? Or I continue a bit, right? Before we can, and then we can have a question and answer a bit for the ISO 9000. So positive effect of the ISO 9000 certification. So it will improve your process and procedure. Of course, yes. This is my own experience before. Yeah, yeah. Some people have their own process, right? And then they know what it is. They know how to do the job, but they are not documented, right? If anything happened with him, let's say he have to have a annual take a vacation for 2 weeks, and a lot of people don't know how to do that, and then the process will start. So this is something that you have to improve your process. Improve your process meaning that you have all the documentation, all the processes documented in all the throughout the organization, and then you have to review it, right? When you do this ISO, then you review your own process. Then after that, why we have to give to him, to him, to him, and to him, and after that to her, to her, to her, and to her, and after that we just and then we get the job done. It can be like from him to her, then from her to him back, and then we can reduce 3 steps, 4 steps, and also 5 steps in order to make it fast, right? We review it back, and then we improving the process, and then improving process of understanding, right? When we do the documentation, let's say Ali is doing something like approval of loan, but let's say Kadir is the one who take all the information, right? From the customer, and then all the information from the customer, put it in one database and so on, and then send to Ali, and Ali will do the decision whether the loan is granted or not. But previously, what Kadir do is only just gathering all the information, put it in a nice form, and put it in the database and so on, but he don't know what Ali is doing. So now is something that we document all, and then all people can, okay, Ali is doing this, and this. I think it's better to have this for Ali to make a better decision. So, and then Kadir change some information in gathering. So he take some other information, probably some expenditure of the client and so on. So in order to make sure that Ali can do a better job, right? So the understanding is better, and then you can also improving the process. So improving existing quality policy, right? And then completing the quality manual, improving communication between management and also employee, because we are in the same team. Yeah. Previously, we just know that okay, that one is our manager, and then we hardly see that him or her because it's really busy. But when he have a really good commitment in this ISO, we frequently see that him or her, and then we have a good relationship because we have a really more frequent communication between each other. So increasing company credibility. Yes, when you see that, okay, this company is something like okay, something like if they don't have a ISO, I want to deal with this company. Okay, first you have to make a request, okay, and then just call me, and then we can I can send you the item, something like you want you want him to supply something, right, to your company. And then company don't have any certificate, any procedure, written procedure. And the second time when I want to order a material to him, and then say that, okay, no, you have to put an invoice, you have to put a purchase order, blah 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 blah. Now the process is different, and the third time the process is different, and it's not improved. Sometimes it's not really, not the same way, the one that the first and the second one. So it is not a standard way. So you can see that, oh, this management is really crap, right? It's not really good, because they don't have any standard. The first one they deliver in 1 day, the second one they deliver in 1 week, the third one they deliver in probably 3 weeks, or maybe or 1 month. So this is not the organization don't have any uh, right a really good procedure for that. So if you have it, then they say that, okay, in our ISO, this is our what call that, our standard. So any requests that come, we will respond in 1 day, and then after that, and after confirmation, we will send the invoice in 2 days, and then once you will do the payment with the invoice, we will send the item in 2 days. So it is look professional, right? More professional company. So we know that, okay, in 7 days I will get the item. It is not something like the first company, even though the first one they give you 1 day, but the second one you give you 1 week, the third one have 3 weeks. There is no standard in the company. So this, if your company have the standard, then the company have something like credibility. You can see that, okay, people are, oh, this company is credible. They can give you in some standard time, right? Benefit, right? I think you can know the benefit, right? You can read this. I don't want to give more explanation. Just roughly that you can have increase your quality level. You can go for international. Like some international know that, okay, oh yes, this company have ISO 9000. It is internationally recognized, right? So, and then you have higher perceived quality, improve customer satisfaction, right? And competitive edge, sorry, um, reduce customer quality audits, right? So it is we can reduce customer audit, because normally customer will come to audit, oh, okay, this is material that you want to buy, this is the process and so on. So we want to make sure that you have a good process before you come to you serve to us. But when we say that we are ISO certified, so a lot of people will have something like confidence with your company. So internally, register ISO 9000 have force you to have a better documentation, right? Force you to make documentation. A lot of people don't like it, right? But in order to fulfill this, documentation is the one that really really crucial, because it is not easy for people. It is same with your software testing, right? Because if you want to test something that the product is according to the one that the customer needs, you need to have a documentation of the requirement, right? But in our case, we can also refer to the person who are giving the requirement. But in this one, it is something that you have to make a standardization, right? You have to standardize, okay, for this department, this is the thing that they need to do, and document it, right? So it is something that can be a reference for the whole organization to follow. Okay. Next, yeah, standard lay the foundation of total quality management, right? Concentrating on 3 fundamental aspects. One is quality control. Yeah, it is something like organization process. You control the quality of the process. Document the various processes and also procedure. Right. So the first one, quality control. The second one is the documentation. You are forcing yourself to make a documentation, then ensuring that appropriate quality emphasis is established and followed by everyone, okay, in the organization. So this is something that the benefit that we can get, right? So as I repeat again, quality control, documentation, and also followed by the employee. Okay. All right. Negative aspects, sorry, of ISO 9000. Yes, this I agree, because based on my experience to get the ISO 9000, you have to put a lot of extra time, a lot of extra time and money, right? You have to. It is, yeah, it is a bit. It's not a bit. Really challenging for company or for organization that don't have any of documentation before. It really painful for them. Then they have to spend a lot of money, right? Train people, and also extra time, right? And involve in the registration process. And for you to register, then you have to put a lot of money, put a lot of extra time. And then the thing that is really challenging is some company, because sometimes some people don't get bind with the manager, and then they have to force the lower ground people to do the documentation, and then they have to do extra work. And but some people, the problem is they don't give the extra money for that, meaning that they don't give what I call that extra time, because worker give extra time, they didn't give extra money for that work. So that's the problem, right? Distract from other quality programs. Okay, you have to, yeah, because when you, this is the most crucial thing. The ISO 9000 is for the management, and then you have to suit also to if you have a quality system for product, and then you have to suit with this sorry, the ISO. Yeah, as I mentioned to you, a lot of work, right? You have to plan, you have to do a lot of things, and then you at the same time you have to continue your job, right? Then it is something that is really uh, painful before, but after that, to maintain it is some other challenge, right? Okay. Mm, this is success factor for ISO. So you have to have a clear planning, hard work, commitment from top level. It's not on the top level, also the low level, right? But first you have to bind the top level, and then after that, the instruction from the top level will make the bottom level will be more will give the commitment. Cross-functional team work, weekly meeting, and also extensive training resulting in knowledgeable individual, right? So all people need to be trained, need to know what is ISO, need to know what is documentation, procedure, policy, and so on, all for the organization to get the ISO 9000. Right. Is ISO 9000 works for you? Is it works? Is it crucial for you or not, right? So implementing ISO 9000 leads to improve the competitiveness, because the participant, the one who organization that participate, will enforce the explicit statement, declare aims or specification, enforce system monitoring records, right? Enforce monitoring and also record. All the things have to be recorded, because we need to have something like, why we need to okay, one question, why we need to record all the things, guys?
To make sure the traceability.
Yes, Shazwan, I'm looking for that one. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, to ensure the traceability. With record we can trace, right? So if you don't have record, then how you want to trace it? Okay. So necessary discipline to carry out audits, define responsibility, Because this is my own experience before, right? Some people, they don't know what is their responsibility, right? They do here and there, they do this one, they do this one, because some people, yeah, when you are uh, go into the industry, sometimes some people get bullied, right? Because some people, they don't know their responsibility. They do what the the senior give to them. Okay, Hafiz, can you do this? Hafiz, can you stand by? Hafiz, can you do this, and this? And you thought that that one is responsibility, but sometimes it is not. When you have to do the ISO, meaning that you have to record who are responsible to do what. Then you know that, oh, okay, my senior actually have to do this. It is not my job. So it is more explicit, right? You have to define the responsibility. Then you can see that, okay, according to the ISO, this is not my job. This is your job, right? But if you want me to do that, if anything happen, you have to responsible. Because yeah, the thing is responsibility. Because a lot of people, oh, that guy doing that. But yeah, am I allowed to do that? But because the ISO mentioned that this documentation need to do by you, it's not me. If I make a mistake, then you have to bear you have to responsible, right? So something like that. Okay, provide an audible system, right? That can be verified by the external auditors, help to successfully implement the feedback loop. You remember feedback loop, right? The one that give, okay, you have to change this, we have to change this in order to improve what, and then apply a supplier customer relationship and well defined. Prevention attitude throughout the develop a prevention attitude, right? Prevention attitude, protection, prevention, right? Prevention is better than cure, right? So make sure that this is not happen in order to avoid something bad happen next, right? Establish clearly documented procedure, understood by everyone, as I mentioned to you before. Provide adequate training, quality training for everyone. Okay. Managerial implication for ISO becoming an integral part of global business, right? So business now require ISO, right, to make sure that you have a standard, and then managers must understand critical success factors, and there are extensive benefit beyond the certification and consider certification to other standard. When you have the ISO 9000, then you have to think. You can think of another thing, because this is the more abstract one. This is the whole or the high level. Then after that, you can move towards your own business. Okay. Before we move to ISO 9001, can you do you have any questions so far, guys? I hope it is clear for you.
Doctor, I have a question.
Yes.
For the ISO 9000, it is certified for the product, right? It's not for the company, right?
It is a company. It's not product, Shazwan. As I mentioned to you before, it is for the company process, the company procedure. It is not the product itself, right? The product that we mentioned before, we have learned before, is ISO 9000 9126. That one is product. That one is we evaluate the product of the software itself. But this one is more toward the procedure, the process of the organization.
So what? So
Sorry?
how to make sure that the product produced afterwards
Mm-hmm.
follow the ISO 9000?
Oh, so okay, but the product, so the ISO 9000 doesn't mention about product, right? So I have from the notes, right? I already mentioned at the first one. Okay. ISO is not a product registration standard, ISO 9000. Okay, so I hope you clear that this is more toward the process inside the organization. The process inside the organization, right?
Okay, doctor. Thank
Okay,
you, doctor.
Shazwan, for example, I just want to make it clear, right? So product, let's say okay, let's say I have a company of, okay, my company is supplying supplying high performance computer, HPC, right? So the product is the HPC. So the HPC product certification, something like they have something like a product certification of HPC, that you have to comply with the CE, you comply with the what call that the material and so on. That one is the product side, right? That one is product side. But for the process side, something like you are the customer. You want to buy my HPC from my company, right? And then it's something like to process your application of buying the HPC. Okay, first I have a standard. I have a a process or procedure that first you need to fill out the form which piece the specification of HPC that you want, right? Something like a three processor, three quad core processor or octa core processor, and then the RAM should be around 128 gigabyte, right? The SDD, uh, the the this 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, and so on. That one, and then after that you send the requirement to me. Then after that, I get the requirement, and then after that, I give you an quotation to you. This is my process. The first one, you give to me, and I will give you the quotation in 1 hour. Then I give you 1 hour. Then 1 hour later, I give you the quotation. Then after that, you say that okay, the quotation is good. I sign it, and then I give the purchase order, right? So when I get the first purchase order, my company will give you the invoice in 2 days, right? Then after that, this is the process, right? I document the process of how company or how customer to buy a HPC for me, from my company, right? This is the process on how to uh, make how to buy a HPC, right? So this is the process inside the company, inside the organization. So I've documented this is our ISO, that if you want to buy something, this you have to follow this process, right? And then this process also have all the things, meaning that the how many days, how many, what is the documentation that you will receive from me, and so on. Okay, the product certification is different, right? The product certification is something like, okay, if I want to supply the product should comply with this ISO blah blah blah. This is a product certification. This is from CE, or this is from TUV or something like that, right? So is it clear for you, Shazwan, with this example?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, how about others?
Yeah, for now.
Okay, good. Any questions before we move to ISO 9001? Guys?
No, I think.
No? Okay, thank you, Azik. What about others?
No, doctor.
Okay, thank you, Anis.
No,
All right.
no question.
Okay, thank you, Hadi. Okay, next, the ISO 9001, the quality management. So what is this? What it is? So ISO 9000 specify or set out the requirement for quality management system, right? The ISO 9000 is just information, the taxonomy, the definition, and so on. But ISO 9000 will give you the set of requirement on how to have a quality management system. So this is ISO 9001, the one that is really, really popular in I think in the whole world for the ISO, because a lot of company have this, and yeah, looking forward for that. Okay, so it helps businesses and organizations to be more efficient, improve customer satisfaction, right? So over 1.1 million worldwide have ISO 9001, right? A lot of company have this. and then demonstrate to customer that they can offer products and services of consistently good quality. They have something like, okay, I this is a good quality mouse, something like this. This is a good quality mouse, okay, and then we know how to produce this mouse in the same quality, right? This same quality, and then we specify the whole process until we get this mouse, right, with the same quality, right? It is not something that we have this one, but the next production, we are not sure whether we get the same quality or not, because the process is a bit different this time. And then after that, next time, probably we can have a better quality because we improve, we add more process. So that process is not a standard, and then you cannot produce the same quality of mouse, something like this, right? So ISO, you make sure that all is documented, right? And then you follow the same one in order to maintain the same quality of the product that you produce. Okay, a common framework for all and management system standard. ISO uses the high level structure, right? Was developed within the ISO committee and try to provide the level of consistency for all system standard, right? So they have something like the same as I mentioned to you before. They have something like feedback, and when a feedback, and then the ISO or the standard will change, right? Will change according to the feedback. What is quality management system? As I mentioned to you, the QMS, right? It's a way of defining how organization can meet the requirement of its customer or and other stakeholder affected by its work. As I mentioned to you before, the example that I've given to you, the one that when I have a company, when client, when Shazwan want to have a HPC, I want to have a HPC. So this is the requirement. So how I can respond to Shazwan until he satisfied with the product that I delivered to him, right? So ISO is based on the idea of continual improvement, okay? So it doesn't specify the objective related to quality, no, right? It doesn't specify what the objective relating to quality or meeting customer needs should be, but requires organization define this objective themselves, continually improve their process in order to reach them, right? What do you understand about this, guys? It doesn't specify what the objectives relating to quality or meeting customer needs should be, but requires organization to define these objectives themselves and continually improve their processes in order to reach them.
Is the company set the standards themselves?
Correct, Ajik. Yes, it is. That one is the short what call that explanation on that. The company itself have to supply the information on how to meet the customer needs or customer satisfaction. It is not the standard saying that the customer should be you have to respond to the customer in 5 minutes. You have to deliver the goods in 2 days. No, that is not the one that they mention. You have to mention yourself because this is for general business. It is not only for software business. It's not only for hardware business, and even it is not only for the insurance or financial business. It is for the whole thing. And then you have to specify by your own self what you think that the customer needs and customer satisfaction is, right? Next, what benefit will it bring to my business organization? So assess the overall context of your organization to define who affected by your work and what they expect from you, right? So we know that we need to, because sometimes people just finish the task and give the result, right? A lot of people sign something like that, but they don't see that, okay, the whole picture. I give to this one, this is our client, then how to satisfy him with my work, right? So this is something that ISO need to the continual improvement, right? So this enables state your objective and identify new business opportunity and put your customer first, as I mentioned to you before. Make sure that consistently meet their needs and enhance their satisfaction. So you have to see, right? You have to see the view of customer. It's not only you have to see the view of yourself, the one who are processing the document and give the output, right? Sometimes you can get what do you call that? Feedback from the client saying that why don't you use okay I this let's say me as evaluating the loan, right? And then they say that okay, the loan is rejected, no, you cannot get the loan. And then the feedback from the client, yes, I can I'm not qualified with the loan, but can you give me the information why? So okay, the next, and then you have to change your ISO saying that okay, give the decision yes or no to get the loan. Then after that, if rejected, then I have to put the reason why, because next probably he can make an appeal. Then okay, actually I missed this document, I didn't put my bank statement, this is my other bank statement, and so on. So something like that, this just to improve, and then the business is getting better, right? People or the customer more have more information, and probably get more satisfied with our service. Okay, what bring, yeah, to the organization more efficient way, as all your process meet the necessary statutory regulatory requirement, right? So previously, this is my experience before, because some people or some organization, they already have a regulation, they have a status, they have something like, this is the rule that you have to comply, this is the procedure that you have to comply in order to finish this service or process this application. Some people is something like uh, do it their own way, and then it's inherit meaning that he have done that when he was a junior officer. Then after that, when he have been be a senior officer, he continue that. That is not complying with the procedure before. And then after that, when junior officer come, he teach the junior officer to use his way on how to process the application. Right? This is happen. If we go to organization, a lot happen there, because they say that okay, this is our way. They, yeah, we know the procedure from that, but this is our way. But for the ISO, this so-called inherit what call that inherit activity, something like procedure. This can be stopped, and then you have to follow the procedure that have been drafted before, right? So expand new market, right? When you have 9001, and then you can just show your client that you have 9001, and then some client require 9001, and then you can join that business. Something like previously you meet a lot of you see a lot of tender or a lot of business, that company, the one who fund the project, need to have a company that uh, fulfill that have a ISO certification in order to join the project. And then you can join the project because you already now have the ISO 9001. So identify the address and address the risks associated to your organization. Now you can see the whole picture. You can see the risks. You can see where is the high risk processes, and then you can make you can identify and also uh, make something to mitigate this risk or to reduce the risk. Okay, why was ISO 9001 revised? Right. So as I mentioned to you before, it is not only us, the one who are uh, certified with the ISO 9001, need to have a continual improvement. The standard itself also have something like continual improvement. They improve because uh, business or the world is changing, right? The world is changing very fast, right? More fast. And then in order to make sure that you are really competent in that with the time, right? The ISO need to have to be changed. Yeah, because the standard is now is big more and more better than before, right? So the ISO standard review and revise regularly to make sure that remain relevant, right? So sometimes some people, if the standard is not relevant anymore, a lot of people will not use it, right? So you have to make sure that you are still relevant, right? Still use it. A lot of people still refer to ISO in order to make sure that they are really competent with the process, with their organization processes. So, for example, increase of globalization has changed the way we do business, and organizations often operate more complex supply chains, right? So, and then they are increased expectation from the customer. A lot of people more, for example, uh, to produce or to give the documentation to get the finished product, it should be something like time, right? You have to be fast in order to make sure you are you are in the competition, right? You are one of the competitors. So you can have something like this. So ISO 9001 started in 1980, right? And then after that, they have some revision in 1987, first edition. This is 1980. It is a committee form, right? The committee form to develop this standard. The first standard is released in 1987, the first edition. And then they have, after 7 years, 1994, they give first minor revision of the 1987, and then after that they make a major revision of 2000, and also 2008 they have second minor revision, and recently 5 years ago they have something like second major revision is 2015. So ISO 9001 2015 is now the latest documentation of the ISO 9001. Right. So why? Right. So yeah, you need to change. Right. So organization need to perform in new ways. So our quality management standard need to keep up with this expectation. Right. So because technology is evolving and the way how to do business also is evolved, and then the ISO 9000 have to change. Right. To accordingly. So this is ISO 9001. Okay. So quality management system, this is the requirement, right? So ISO 9001 specify the requirement of quality management system. So what is the thing that you need to make sure to have a quality management system. So this is something like the ISO TC, the technical committee, SC, the sectorial committee number 2. This is the one who developed this. The secretariat held by the BSI. So as I mentioned to you before, BS is British Standard. I is Institute, meaning that British Standard Institute are doing this or lead the development of this. So they are the ISO member of the UK. For the UK, sorry. So they are responsible to develop the ISO 9001, their requirement, right? So in addition, they also produce the ISO 9004, 9001, this, and also this one. So the structure of ISO 9001 now follow the overall structure, so high level structure, right? So they make a high level structure in order to because you will continue also. It is not only 9001, sometimes you have also the product ISO product certification. Then this ISO is meant to be a really high level one, right? And then you can just plug in some of the ISO that you follow for your product or other specific process of your business. Okay, so it is only a high level structure. So ISO 9001 2015 give you the requirement of a high level structure of your quality management system. Okay, so this is the one, right? So specify the requirement for quality management system when an organization needs to demonstrate its ability. So the requirement on how to demonstrate the company ability to consistently provide product and services that meet customer and applicable statutory, meaning that the policy or the procedure or regulatory requirement, right? So, for example, in the government sectors, right, they have something like act, they have something like rules, they have something like yeah, some management administrative instruction. They have something like that, and then they have to make then the what call that the ISO need to make sure that it is comply with this, right? For the specific organization. So aims to enhance the customer satisfaction through the effective application of the system, including processes for improvement the system and the assurance of conformity to standards and so on, right? So as I mentioned to you before, it is generic. It is not really specific for business, right? So some people say, oh no, 9001 is for financial business. 9001 is for the supplier, the one who do the supply. They need to have the 9001. But this is no, this is actually 9001 as I repeat, are generic. This is generic, right? Are intended to be applicable to any organization. It is not only for software, it's for the whole things, right? And then regardless of its type, size of product and also services it provides, right? So what are the key? Achieving the value, create the leadership, focus on risk-based thinking, right? So you have to see all the things and then see the risk of your organization, right? When you do the process, and then emphasize the objective measurement, stakeholder focus, right? Focus on the stakeholder, and then the stakeholder, as you know, that stakeholder is not only the customer, right? The customer, our owner, and also the owner of the system itself. And sometimes the owner of the system is not the user of the system, right? And decrease emphasis on documentation, right? Okay. So this is the key difference of 2008. This is only an information for you. Just want to show you that if you see it here, it's quality management system. This is context of organization. So management responsibility, it breaks out into the leadership and also planning. It is more specific, right? And then you can have something like measurement, analysis, performance evaluation, and then I want to see how the improvement can be made here. So it is more towards the performance and evaluation, more more specific. So this is this one, right? So documentation, quality manual, document procedure. So they give the document information only. So it is a bit reduced on documentation, right? A bit reduced on documentation. It does not eliminate, but just to reduce a bit, because something like I think a lot of people, a lot of company, a lot of industrial players have given the feedback that documentation is really painful and kill them in order to get this 9001. So probably from that feedback, they want to try to reduce a bit of doing the documentation for the company. Benefit, right? Greater leadership engagement, address organization risks, right? Simplify the language, common structure terms, particularly helpful for organization using multiple management system, supply chain management, more effective, and user-friendly service and knowledge-based organization. Knowledge-based organization meaning that a lot of people have knowledge, and then you store the knowledge in one repository that a lot of people or the employee can refer in order to learn something in the organization. So it is knowledge-based, right? You have something like repository reference in order to educate people in your organization. Should I certify to ISO, right? So when an independent body practice against your requirement standard, it is not a requirement of ISO, but it's a way to showing stakeholder that you have implemented the standard properly, right? Sure. If you want to, because a lot of people saying that, do you have a standard in producing this product? You have, if you want to if you need to demonstrate that ISO is really, really good for you, right? Showing that you have a process and the process is controlled, right? There is an auditor of the process, and then you can make sure that you will produce this mouse, for example, in a standard way, and then you can get the quality of every cycle of this production is the same quality. So that's the example, right? So for some company, third-party certification may be a requirement. Let's say it is a big tender, right? Something like development of uh, Malaysian health system, something like that, right? Or road transport department system. The company who want to uh, uh, participate with the tender need to have a certification of ISO 9001 to prove that the process in the organization have a standard way. So that's something that is crucial for you, right? So for some companies, this is a requirement. It is not a something that is advantage, right? So I mentioned to you before, it's a requirement. So quality now here is a requirement. It's not only but it is not advantage anymore. ISO does not perform certification, as I mentioned. I didn't mention to you before, but this is the one that I want to stress. That if you want to have a certification, please don't ask ISO, because ISO will not give you the certification for the something like ISO 9000, but they will do something certification for body or something like that. But to get the certification of ISO 9000, they don't do that. There is a standard. There's a body or something like a company that is certified to do that. They will do that and then give you the certification, right? So wait, I need to see this. Oh, no, slide 43. Okay, guys, any questions so far?
No, doctor. No,
No.
doctor.
Okay. I hope that you understand what is ISO 9000 and ISO 9001. That one is one of the higher level of ISO in the organization. All right. So if you have an opportunity to go for a company that say that they have the ISO 9000, they have a ISO 9000 certified. If you want to have some information, you can ask them about the standard, and then you have to read that, right? Because a lot of people uh, is- sorry, because it is easy to get information from the standard documentation rather than ask people. Sometimes ask people, you don't have the standard way or standard answer. So ISO is something like the documentation that have already documented and the most referred uh, reference for the company. Okay, one before we finish our class for today, so I will continue this the mission development standard, right? Next in inshallah in Wednesday. So why we need the ISO, right? What is the benefit for software engineer like you about ISO? Can you think about it, guys? What is the benefit for ISO for the software engineer? What is the benefit for you as a software engineer? The documentation of ISO.
Only the documentation.
Yes, Haziq, again, sorry.
Is it only documentation?
Is it only documentation? Yes, is it on documentation? What is the benefit for software engineer? Let's say you need to develop a system, right? A payment system or a salary payment system in the company. And then the company, right? Uh, is certified with ISO 9001. So what is the benefit of ISO 9001 in your development of software?
Um, yeah, we can understand the risk and opportunities when we develop the software or design.
Yes, that one is correct, but it is not the highest priority for me, right? Understand the risk. Yes, you understand the risk when you want to develop the system. You have to understand the risk. But what else?
Increase efficiency,
Increase
productivity, profit.
in terms of Lydia,
In terms of the
because
product.
in terms of the product, not really accurate. It's correct. Yes, increase the productivity and efficiency. But what for you, for the software engineer to get benefit from 9001 ISO 9001? Clue is requirement.
To make sure we fulfill all the requirement.
Mm, fulfill all the requirement. Okay, because to develop a system, you have to make a requirement analysis. So what ISO 9001 can benefit you? More clues, right? Guys,
Guidelines.
guidelines. Sana, yes, a guideline. Good. It's almost to get the answer.
Then from software, we follow ISO 9001, and then we can produce a good software, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, that one is correct, Swana. That one is complete. For the one that I'm looking at, right? Because probably Swana have also what do you call that experience with this, right? So because to develop a system, right, you need to have you need to do a lot of things to gather the requirement, right? And then you have to do the interview, you have to do the workshop in order to get all what person do and then what the system should do, right? And it is not standard. Some people doing the same process, right? And then they said that do this and this the flow, and person B saying that do this after this and this and this and this, right? And then the process is not standard, but it is good to have a standard like ISO 9001 specify all the processes, and then when you want to do a system, you can just saying that okay, I'm doing the system flow based on only the ISO 9001. It is not based on the individual requirement, right? Because some people have their own individual requirement. Yes, we can do that, but basically we have to refer the ISO 9001 as the source of the requirement, right? The main source of the requirement. Okay, guys, I think that's all. It's already 9:50. I need to stop the recording first. Okay. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions so far?
No, sir.
Okay. And always, if you have a question, just send me an email, and also you can just text me. Wish you a good probably breakfast. Right. Thank you very much, and see you on Wednesday, inshallah.
Thank you,
Assalamualaikum.
Doctor.
Welcome.
Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Welcome.
Thank you, Doctor.
Welcome.
Thank you, Doctor.
Welcome.